Hello everyone, I'm your instructor, Micah Messer. I'm not a real-world instructor or pilot, so please do not use this information in real-world aircraft as you may injure yourself or someone else. Welcome back to flight school, guys. I'm feeling much better today, which is great. Today we're going to cover the traffic pattern. And what I mean by that is the pattern you would take to enter into an aircraft, an airport area, or when you're doing touch and go landings in the airport. Now I'm going to show you what that is in just a second. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and announce here, it's on an uncontrolled airport. What does that mean? If you watched the last lesson, you'll know that that means that it does not contain an ATC. There's no ATC controlling the traffic for this airport. That means it's a pilot-controlled airport or an uncontrolled airport, which means that the pilots in the area control all the traffic for the airport. Now we're going to go ahead and say we've done all of our pre-flight, all of that kind of stuff. We're not going to worry about any of that. And we're going to go and we're going to do a traffic pattern for you guys so you can see what that looks like. I'm not the best traffic pattern flyer. That's just how it is. I've never really been the best. But that is, I can at least show you how it's supposed to work and what you're supposed to look for. Now right off the bat, I want to go ahead and show you what exactly is a traffic pattern. A traffic pattern is basically, most traffic patterns at least, are going to be a left traffic. What does that mean? Well, basically, let's say you're taking off from this runway right here. You're heading straight up, and to a left traffic, that would be, you would do what? You would turn left, correct? So the way this works is you take off, right, and you're heading this direction along with the line of the runway. As you get out to about, around this area or so, you're going to get about 700 feet up in the air. You're going to take a 90-degree turn to the left, which means you're going to be going perpendicular, 90-degree angle, which makes you perpendicular to the runway. Now, what this is called, first off, this is called your upwind, by the way, when you're going away from the airport. This is your crosswind, okay, which means you're crossing the direction of the wind. Remember, as I talked about last time, you're always taking off up into the wind. And if the wind is blowing this direction, then you're going to take off this way. So if you're going this direction, what does that mean? You're going cross of the direction of wind. Even if there's no wind, let's say there's 0 miles per hour of wind, it's still considered crosswind. Now, this is your crosswind leg. What you're going to do is once you get out to about if you look out your left window, you're going to see the runway about 45 degrees compared to your aircraft. So if your aircraft's out here, 45 degrees, then you're going to make another left turn, another 90-degree turn, which puts you what? Parallel to the runway, just heading the opposite direction which you started. This is called your downwind leg. That means what? You're going with the wind. You're going down the wind. Just like you are going up the wind this way, you're going down the wind that way. Now, once you get, again, I'll talk to you in a little bit about the altitudes and stuff. But once you get out to about, again, another 45-degree angle from the end of the runway, you're going to turn another left. What is that? That's your base. Okay, it's called your base. Once you hit your base and you get close to about, generally speaking, I usually go about a 20-degree angle or so. I've always found 45-degree angles to be turned a little too soon. But you want to make a turn onto your final and come in and land just the same direction that you took off from. That allows you to continue in the pattern as many times as you would like to practice your landings, practice your control of the aircraft, straight and level flying, all of that stuff. Now, let's get into the altitude. Altitudes you're going to be shooting for. Most airports have a traffic pattern of 1,000 feet. That means 1,000 feet above ground level, not 1,000 feet above sea level, 1,000 feet above ground level, which means you're going to be climbing to 1,000 feet to enter into your traffic pattern. But you're going to be turning left onto your crosswind when you hit about 700 feet. And then you're going to level out about 1,000 feet when you're on your crosswind. Then you'll take a left onto your downwind, stay 1,000 feet. Now, right when you hit your touchdown mark, so basically the numbers on the runway, you're going to go ahead and reduce that throttle so that you lose some of that altitude, maintaining your pitch, and you're going to start making a slow descent. And I mean slow. You don't want to go too fast or you're going to be too low. Slow descent till you hit that 45, turn left onto your base, continuing that slow descent, adding flaps in, make that left turn onto your final into the runway. You want to be, which we'll get into the landings of how you want to land later on, but we're focused on the traffic pattern right now. And we'll get in there and you'll land. And so the key for a traffic pattern is making the turns at the right time, knowing the altitude you're supposed to be at, and learning how to properly fly straight and level and descend. Now I'm going to show you what that looks like in real life here in just a second. Let me click, and there we go. I'm going to zoom in here to our Cessna 172, which is already powered up, ready to go. All right. I'll give those call outs too for the HUC. That way you can kind of see how that's going to work here. All right, so what we're going to do here, we're going to go ahead and make that call. Let everybody know that we're going to be taxiing to, let's see, what runway we're going to be heading out to. I always forget the last moment. That's right, 31 and 13. How could I forget that? We're going to be taking off 31, which means we're going to be heading pretty much straight ahead. I'm sorry, no, we're going to be taking off 13, not 31. We're going to take off 13. So we'll go ahead and make that call to the traffic. And again, using that sandwich method, what we'll do here is we'll make that call. Jim Hamilton Airport traffic, Cessna 172 Sierra Papa, taxiing to runway 13, departure, remain in pattern, Jim Hamilton Airport. Alright, so we'll go ahead and make that taxiing. Again, we're acting like, actually, let me make sure my lights are right. I don't think my lights are correct. And they're not. Landing doesn't need to be on, nor does the strobes. Okay. Alright. Now I'll go ahead and make that taxi now. And I'm just going to show you guys how this pattern will kind of look. And I just want to remind you all, this is not an end-all, be-all for everything you need to know. It's a good majority, but it's not everything. You have to remember to practice too. Just watching one video is not going to give you what you need to know in regards to how to fly this aircraft, how to fly properly, everything like that. You need to really practice, and even I still have to take sessions and spend an hour in the Cessna and just fly around practicing landings, practicing getting in the pattern and all that kind of stuff. So it's not quote-unquote easy as it may seem. So you need to practice a lot to really be a proficient pilot. Excuse me, even in a simulator. So go ahead and make that call now. Jim Hamilton Airport, Cessna 172 Sierra Papa, taking off runway 13, departure, remain in pattern, Jim Hamilton Airport. So we go ahead and line up here. Increase that throttle, applying slowly that right rudder. Keep me center lined here. A little off there. Keep that nose down. We're about 6. We're going to let ourselves lift off here, 70. And remember that climb out speed that we're looking for, about 74 knots. So we're going to keep ourselves pitched up till we can get 74. And again, we're watching that altitude, which right there. We're looking for about that 700 feet. Jim Hamilton Airport, Cessna 172, Sierra Papa, turning left, crosswind, Jim Hamilton Airport. That's just letting them know, hey, I'm turning onto my crosswind right now. Anyone else in the pattern, just be aware of that. And that's important for aircraft that are coming into the pattern itself. Now, what I didn't cover is the degrees I'm turning to. Now, we know we took off at 1.3, and 1.3 is just about one notch after 1.2 on the compass, which means I'm going to line up just one notch after the 3 here, right about there. Reduce that throttle so we not climbing anymore. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look out our left window. That's not our left window. And we're getting about 45 now. Yeah, we're about 45 now. So what we'll do, we'll go and make another left turn. Jim Hamilton Airport, Cessna 172 Sierra Papa, turning left, downwind. Jim Hamilton Airport traffic. Now that's, again, mostly for inbound aircraft, because the inbound aircraft are going to have to, when they come in at a 45-degree angle into the pattern, and we'll get into that when we're getting into the arriving in the airport area. But just know that. So they'll be entering actually into this portion of a traffic pattern. So you need to be aware of that and make adjustments as necessary. Now we're going to be shooting for about 90 knots here in the traffic pattern. Look off to our, oh, I did it again, left here. You'll see that we're parallel to the airport right now, the runway. And that's what you want to shoot for. Let's increase our down, put our pitch down a little bit, increase our throttle slightly. Just our trim just a bit, so we're basically flying on our own. There we go. All right. Again, we're looking for, okay, we hit those marks, so I'm actually going to go ahead and reduce throttle. Hit those, the numbers on the runway, which is going to reduce throttle. Keep my pitch about the same, or actually going to pitch for the airspeed. You'll notice that my altitude's already going to start dropping. Again, I want a gradual descent. I don't want anything crazy. We're going to look off to the left here. Not quite 45, almost there. Again, we're looking off 45 to our left. So if we're looking straight off 90 degrees, 45 to our left. That's what we're looking for, which we're getting about there now. Continue to reduce that throttle just a tad. Go ahead and apply one flap, so that means it's going to be about 10 degrees. Increase the throttle just a tad, that way we're not losing the airspeed. And we'll turn left again. Jim Hamilton Airport, Cessna 172 Sierra Papa, turning left base. Jim Hamilton Airport. And again, that's just letting aircraft know I'm turning left base, and that's really important for aircraft that are taking off. Those are taking off right now. They need to know, hey, this guy's about to enter his final. You might want to hurry up your takeoff or hold short. So that's basically what that's letting them know. And when I'm making these turns, you'll notice I'm using the 2-minute turn indicator. That way, all my turns are exactly the same. And it's important when you're making these traffic patterns and you're practicing, do everything the exact same. Go ahead and make my turn again. Now we're right there. So we're going to make our turn again. Jim Hamilton Airport, Cessna 172 Sierra Papa, turning left, final runway 13, Jim Hamilton Airport. Again, you want to make everything as possible the same every single time. That way you're making that, same pattern, same entry, same landing, everything. We're going to go and reduce flaps 1 again. Reducing that throttle. A little high on that approach, but it's all right. We're going to reduce throttle a little bit and push our nose down just a tad to keep that airspeed up. Means we're just going to slide right in here onto final. And we're going to cover landings, guys. You'll see it here, but we're going to cover landings in the next episode. I'm going to get more in depth of what you're looking for, the transition, all that kind of stuff. But I really wanted to show you just kind of how patterns look. And again, patterns are, I think, one of the most difficult things to master in regards to flying just VFR, because there's a lot of things happening all at once. And honestly, it can be difficult to get your patterns perfect. I mean, this is probably one of the better ones I've done recently, and it honestly was not that great. So, it's just, there's a lot that can happen, a lot of things are going on. So just keep that in mind. Practice, again, practice. Practice is essential in regards to flying here in X-Plane 11. And especially with your patterns, you really need to practice your patterns. I'm still practicing patterns, and I'm flying. Oh, birds! Oh, I'm still practicing patterns, and I fly airliners and stuff all the time. So we're going to keep in here, going into that transition, not a flare transition, and we'll get into that in the landings portion. All right, there we are, down on the ground. Too easy. Apply our gentle brakes here. But yeah, guys, I mean, you kind of see how traffic patterns work. I know this is kind of a down and dirty, not too detailed, but the idea here was not to give you a super, well done thing here, but just to kind of give you an idea of what traffic patterns look like. in regards to flying them. So I hope this helped you guys in some way or form. I look forward to the next one. Next, we're going to get into more of the how you should be looking at your landings, landing configuration, how you're going to be communicating that to people in an uncontrolled airport, even though you saw that today. Today is kind of a good overview, some of the things you've already learned. But that traffic pattern is essential. A good landing always starts with a good approach, in my opinion. Without a good approach, your landing is probably going to be shaky, and that's just how it works. So, and a good approach comes from a good traffic pattern, and we'll get into that a little bit more, not traffic pattern, but the approach and landing in the next episode. But thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time on another X-Plane 11 Flight School.